This is Belschnickel, and you're listening to the official league podcast. The championship is nigh. Has your team been admirable or impish?
Ho, ho, ho! Welcome to the Bands Make Her Dance Fantasy Football League podcast with your hosts, Taylor LaPrairie and Joe LaFever. Ho, ho, ho!
What's up, guys? Oh, happy holidays.
It's such a wholesome intro. I love
Isn't it great? Another holiday episode. Welcome in. This is episode 16. Coming to you December 24th, Christmas Eve, 2020. The official league podcast with your hosts, Taylor and Joe. Taylor, how are you doing on this holiday weekend here?
I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to getting into. I'm hoping that there's some snow on the ground because I'm going back home to Michigan. Not gonna lie, we just had a big discussion, which I'm sure we're gonna talk about.
Oh my gosh,
we had a little group conference call. Basically, it was Joe and Derek deciding some things about this Sacco confusion / BS.
Yes, and let me
how this is getting done.
Let me be the first to say that the quickest and easiest solution to all of this was if I just shut my mouth and just not say anything about how it works, because this is going to be at least like the 700th version of this explanation. So just we'll have
a little bit more clarity, hopefully. Coming later in the episode.
Yes, lots more clarity. We got some news to get into, some matchup recaps, some NFL lines. Again, a little bit of holiday power rankings, and the unveiling of the 2020 league championship game with Road to the Ship and the final weekend of the season. And it's going to be a great episode. Taylor, are you drinking anything?
Yes,
Can you give me another beer, please?
I'm drinking some lovely Yeti brand water today.
Oh my gosh.
Are you drinking from Yeti too?
I'm drinking of the exact same Yeti bottle, it looks like, the old 36 ouncer.
Yeah, do you have the chug cap on it though?
Oh, see, now that I don't. I guess I got to upgrade here. I got the old screw cap here.
I've got the screw cap, but they have these new little chug caps that you can put on them, and they're really nice. But
so now it's Yeti brand. So does that also cost like $100 for just that screw cap or that drink cap? Yeah,
it's got ice that was made on Mount Everest that was shipped over. No, it's just standard Texas well water.
Classic.
Well, we're recording this a little bit earlier than normal, and so right now it is 3:30 Central Time. So we were not feeling the beers right now.
It's a little too early for a beer for both of us. 3:30 on a Tuesday. Record the pod. So yes, no. I was hoping maybe some hot chocolate. I should have gotten some hot chocolate to accompany my little gingerbread house.
That is amazing. I as soon as you put that up there, I was like, oh my word.
Isn't that cool?
That's really
that's
cool.
just like the coolest thing ever. I got my little tuba Christmas hat on. I'm
very
ready,
festive.
Ready
very
for
festive.
the holidays. Oh boy. All right. So some takeaways from this weekend. I'll jump in here first because I've slightly ranted about him before on the pod.
You've gone full bore, Joe.
I guess I have.
For Joe LaFever standards, you've gone full bore against Adam Gase.
Yes. So Adam Gase has once again ruined the Jets franchise. And believe it or not, it's by winning a game. Just when you think he can't do anything more to set the New York Jets up for failure, any more than he already has, he does. And now here's my other question, because this is a takeaway and a question. Is this the GM's fault? Should he have fired Adam Gase so Adam Gase didn't have the opportunity to cost the Jets even more than what he already has? Because if you think about it, and I know, like, I've heard some takes on this on like sports shows the past couple days, and I agree with both sides of this, that Adam Gase is like, this sucks, like they should have lost the game. But also from a player's standpoint, obviously you want to win the game, and also not always like the one single player that you draft does not make a team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if there is one position where it has the most opportunity to affect the team, it's definitely quarterback, right? So,
yes.
and obviously Trevor Lawrence is the big storyline here, and people have, comped him to Andrew Luck, and just like, the prospect of his future NFL, career is just so high right now. So if we're strictly going off this rule or this idea, then all of a sudden Adam Gase has cost the Jets years of potential failure, because Trevor Lawrence, if he is going to be as good as people expect him to be, then he could be the change a franchise needs. So again, there's so many moving parts, and it depends on so many different things here. I just want to state the fact that Adam Gase is awful, should have been gone after week 2, and he's a terrible coach, and I don't know how, but he will have another job in the NFL next year. I don't know how he will, but he definitely will.
You think as a head coach, or just he will have another job?
No, I think probably a coordinator, which is probably better for him, but he's still not going to be good at that. So I'm sorry. I'm sure he's a nice guy. Man.
Got those crazy eyes, though.
He can't. Oh, gosh. He's got those crazy eyes, my dude.
He really does. My only thought on that is, like, I think that the Jets, they don't need Trevor Lawrence. They need they need something that they need to be able to trade Trevor Lawrence for, a plethora of other players and picks. Sure. Because, if you look at that team, like, Sam Darnold is not the problem. He's
right.
not. It's not the quarterback position that's going to save them. Of course, Trevor Lawrence is most likely better than Sam Darnold, but they need an offensive line. They need playmakers. They need a defense. So that's not their problem.
Well, and I will say the idea of Trevor Lawrence going to Jacksonville makes way much more sense from just pure NFL standpoint, because I think
that offense would then be very scary.
Exactly. If you put a good quarterback into Jacksonville's offense versus New York's offense, which has more weapons? It's clearly Jacksonville. DJ Chark, James Robinson has broken out. Tyler Eifert's still there. Keelan Cole. They have weapons.
Chenault Jr.
Yes. What did Tim call him?
I don't know, Lisa. I don't know what he said. He just knew. Yeah, he did. Lawrence, Larry. I don't know.
Oh gosh, yeah. So there's talent in Jacksonville. There's not so much talent. What? Jamison Crowder, he's old. Brashad Perriman, he's old. Frank Gore. He's what? He's still playing. So I definitely I agree with that. So okay, my rant over.
Yes.
Rant over.
I love it. I love it when you get in there. All right, my takeaways, short, quick hitters. This I think has been very obvious, but I'll just say it. Drew Brees is done. He needs to be done after this year. It's over for him. He's got no juice left. They need to, for the sake of the Saints' future, they need to move on, and they need to have him retire. They need to move on. LOL at the Steelers.
Woo, yeah.
Oh my gosh, talk about fall from grace. You know that I've been calling it. I've been saying it all year. The Steelers are frauds. They were benefiting from a terrible schedule, and the fact that they can go play the Bengals and get their butts handed to them. Yeah, they are not a threat at all. I don't think for the Super Bowl. To your Chiefs. Yes, I think there's probably like 4 other teams I would put ahead of them right now in the AFC.
Oh yeah.
They are cold.
Yeah. Sorry, Marshall.
Yeah, suck it, Marshall. And then my last thing is I love the Finns. I love the Dolphins. They are exciting to watch. I'm excited for the future. I don't know how I feel about Tua. I want to see another season, because part of me gets a little bit worried that he might have like a little bit of Baker Mayfield, where his team's doing well, but then the next year it's like, okay, but he can't carry the team. But either way, I really like watching the Dolphins, which is I never thought I would say that.
Yeah, good defense, good offense. I do want to point this out just to make Pooj a little bit nervous. So the Chiefs have, with the Steelers' loss last night, have clinched the number 1 seed, I believe, which means that the Chiefs can rest their starters in week 16 and 17.
Oh, yeah.
And not worry about losing that top seed, because the next team so if the Steelers tie, if the Chiefs lose the next 2 games and the Steelers win the next 2 games and they have the same record, I believe the Chiefs have the better record against AFC opponents now, which means that they get that first seed. The only other team that, well, listen, if you're going to talk about Buffalo, because Buffalo can tie the record, but we have the head-to-head win.
No. I'm just going to say, I don't necessarily think that having the first round bye and also resting your starters is necessarily a good thing, because if you look at the past, the Saints, whenever they've had that, they've always come out flat. And then when the Chiefs did that, they came out flat. What was that, 2 years ago?
Well, I mean, last year they were down 24-0 in the
there was that.
But then they came back.
Then they had that, that Tennessee, was that Houston game that happened?
Yeah, that was Houston last year. You're probably talking about so 2 years ago they had the Pats. They played the Colts first. They dominated that game. So they had a game before they played the Pats.
Maybe that's a bad example.
But still, I get what you're saying.
I'm not convinced that resting your starters for 3 weeks in a row is a good thing.
And that's where we're at. The Chiefs aren't going to rest Mahomes or Kelsey or Tyreek Hill for 3 weeks. So I'm not even going to say anything because it shouldn't go obviously you're going to be starting all your Chiefs players if you have them in fantasy football this weekend. Mm-hmm. But I think there is in the realm of possibilities, a 1% chance that the Chiefs get up big on the Falcons, and then all of a sudden, fourth quarter, you're sitting guys because you just don't want to get them injured. I'm just seriously just saying this all to scare Pooch a little bit. But so before we jump into some news, do you have a favorite holiday tradition, Taylor? This is a holiday episode.
Yeah, it is the holiday episode. I'm trying to think of holiday traditions for our family. We honestly, the thing that has stayed consistent throughout all the years is waiting for my mom to finish wrapping all of the presents in the morning. She likes to, take her time, and she does not like being rushed. So it's like an every year thing where she has about 25 presents from the moment she wakes up, 25 presents that she still needs to wrap. And we are all sitting out in the living room, in our pajamas, and we're like, okay, it's about 1:30, Mom, we're ready to go. And then we say, Mom, can you come out here? And then she gets really mad. And so it's this little small Christmas fight that happens, but then we all make up when we start opening presents. So that's probably my favorite holiday tradition.
I love it. Yeah, I got to say, we used to go cut down a Christmas tree every year, obviously before me and my siblings moved away. So that was always fun. I think the one that stayed pretty consistent, though, I won't say what movie because we're going to do a little bit of power rankings of some holiday movies later. But we always watch this one movie every single year with root beer floats and Boston coolers. And it's
What's a Boston cooler?
So Boston, a lot of people don't know this. So root beer float is vanilla ice cream with root beer. Boston cooler is vanilla ice cream with Verner's.
Verner's?
Yeah, with Verner's.
Why is it called a Boston cooler? Isn't Verner's from Michigan?
I have no idea why it's called a Boston cooler. Letter to the editor, Taylor.
Let's call that a Kalamazoo, the Kalamazoo special.
The Kalamazoo special, the Special K.
Kazoo float. Something I don't know.
All right, the Kazoo float. You heard it here first. Wait. I've got a drop for that.
Breaking news.
Breaking news, the Kazoo float, or the Boston cooler has now become the Kazoo float. This
applies to 0.0001% of the population, but
that was a waste of the drop. I'm getting a little too trigger happy with the breaking news drop. Let's get into some real news though here.
News from around the league.
All right, some news to get into here. Not that anyone knows him or I guess cares. Panthers fired their GM, Marty Herney, so he's gone. I can't imagine that will affect Christian McCaffrey or Robbie Anderson.
No fantasy DJ relevance.
Moore. It's really just because we need more content. I'm kidding. Some injuries to talk about. Nick Mullins suffered an elbow injury. Looks like CJ Beathard will be the guy in San Francisco this week. Oh,
who cares? It doesn't matter.
big teardrop for my boy Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who had a nasty hip and ankle injury. Looks like a high ankle sprain. For him, he is out for the rest of the regular season. They're hoping to get him back for the playoffs. I, too, am hoping for that because Lev Bell has not looked like himself. Not to say that he's looked bad, but just was kind of hoping for a little bit more from Lev Bell this year.
Depends on what version of himself you mean. Like when he was at the Steelers, he had like the best offensive line in the entire league, and they also had a killer passing attack. Was it that Lev Bell?
Well,
or are you talking about like no offensive line Jets Lev Bell or
right in
Mark
between.
D'Antonio Lev Bell?
We're right in between. We're maybe
jumping
Mark
over Boise
D'Antonio.
State cornerbacks. Is that what you're talking about?
You know, I was at that game. What a game! I think that is where I'm at because he's still good, but he just doesn't look. I mean, if you watch Clyde run versus Lev, Clyde just looks like a better runner right now. It'll be Lev Bell. It'll be Darrell Williams in that backfield. Pretty sure we're planning on signing somebody else too. James Robinson also. Oh man, this is a heartbreaker. Ankle injury. Not really sure what his injury status is for this weekend. It definitely was not as serious as Clyde. Just found this out a few hours ago. Raheem Mostert. Ankle is out for the rest of the season. 49ers were officially eliminated from the playoffs, so we won't see Raheem Mostert. Same for Deebo Samuel with a hamstring injury, out for the rest of the season. Won't see him again. Fun little fact, though, George Kittle is on track to play for this weekend, and I am very excited to put the Kittle Cat back in my lineup. Very excited. Gotta say. Okay. Now to the most important part of this news segment, the name changes. Oh, yes, the AJ's Brownies have officially taken my suggestion.
This is great.
I think this is the best name change of the year. The AJ's Brownies is now the Defense Whisperer. Yes, this is wonderful. I absolutely love this. Next name change, Pooj Top Joe Bottom is now Pablo Top Joe Bottom. If you didn't catch it, Pooj looks like Pablo Escobar after he shaved his beard. And also, too, Pooj, I'm a little underwhelmed by this name change. You kind of hyped it up, and it's good. Not great. It's not as good as this next one. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air has officially changed his name to the King of Pablo.
Oh!
The King of Pablo. King Henry is now going to be the King of Pablo. Oh, boy. Obviously, these are our two championship game guys here, Derek and Pooj. So we've got Pablo Top Joe Bottom and the King of Pablo.
Love the smack talk. Love it.
Yes, I love it. The only thing I don't love about this is that I'm clearly at the bottom of all three of these names. We have the King of Pablo, then Pablo Top, and then Joe Bottom. So that's sad. But all right, so we hinted at it, but let's officially close the door on last week's matchups here.
Matchup recap.
To move on to the fourth league championship game.
Super Bowl IV.
The Super Bowl IV, the 2 seed. King of Pablo defeats the Defense Whisperer 197.85 to 148.45. Oh my gosh.
The Cinderella run is over. Cinderella run is over for Marshall, but my goodness, what a way to go out to Derek's go almost 200. Ridiculous. He had Ryan Tannehill 39.75, Calvin Ridley 32.3, and then his tight end Darren Waller.
You know how many points Darren Waller has had in the last 2 weeks?
How many points?
75 points.
What?
And he's a tight end.
Oh my gosh.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And to face the King of Pablo in Super Bowl IV, Pablo Top, Joe Bottom defeats Stat Padford 139.1 to 96.75. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, another solid day, 28 plus points. Look at David Montgomery.
He has been probably the RB1 over the last 3 years.
Yeah,
probably like the RB2 because Dalvin Cook and Aaron Jones have been great as well. But
yeah,
his
and
last
I have
4
talked
weeks
about this, but like we tried to trade for David Montgomery and because the schedule said that this was going to happen, and he's showing up.
Exactly, but I do just want to say basically, Pujan getting 2 bye weeks in a row. I mean, just ridiculous. Like Thomas, you're in the playoffs. You can't even put up 100. Come on, you look like my team right now.
Ooh, yeah. Everybody put up 100 this week except Thomas. I shouldn't say that. He's gonna be so mad at me. All right, in the Mediocrity Bowl, a swift kick in the cup defeats the Teddy Brewskis 155.8 to 124.8. Dude, Jalen Hurts.
41.2. My man.
And this was the thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off here, but like on Thursday afternoon, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams were both questionable to play. So I was like, do I start Justin Herbert or do I go and pick up Jalen Hurts? So I had Jalen Hurts in my queue to pick up, but then I was like, it was like right before game time, and Keenan Allen's going to play, on track to play. Mike Williams all of a sudden is going to play. I'm like, I'll start Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert balls out. And then I'm like, oh man, this was quality start. Like I'm sure there's not going to be many quarterbacks that are above him, except for Jalen Hurts, which of course started against me. Way to go, Evan. That's a good pickup there. Good pickup. Yes. And for those of you keeping track at home, for Evan and I, this is a 2-week matchup to see who gives the other one beer. So I have to make up 31 points this week.
I think it's doable.
Well,
I think it's doable. I think that like you got like a lot of your key players like not put up like anything, and you got DeAndre Swift getting 22.2. Although he's actually been kind of a beast. That's been something that I've he's like not on anyone's radar, but he's actually been great all year. He has only 2 games. I mean, in 2 games that he's played, not having at least 10 points. So that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, quite the finish for DeAndre Swift. He's ever since he was named the starter over AP, he's been looking quite swift.
Nice.
In that backfield.
Nice.
That was a good little tag there. Good little dad joke. All right, the consolation ladder. 7 seed hooked on a Thielen loses to the Cowboys that suck. The 10 seed Tim showing up in the consolation bracket. He's now 2-0. 154.85 to 127.15 is the final score of that matchup.
It was all the people I was expecting, some good things from Josh Allen. He also, he had put up Jalen Hurts numbers with 41.25, but you look at his 2 running back spots, not very good, not really great from his 2 wide receiver spots either. But then his tight end spot, Logan Thomas,
dude,
23.1, David Johnson in his flex, 24.3, Jeff Wilson Jr. getting 12. Yeah, it was very, very sad that Tim's deciding to go off on me. But I do want to say one thing here. I sometimes call Joe for advice on like who I should start and things like that.
Oh no!
And he told me
for something.
He told me, hey, no doubt, you got to play Kirk Cousins over Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan getting 31.4, and then Kirk getting a measly 22. Terrible.
Look,
that 22, he had a little bit more than that, but he threw a pick on like the last play of the game. It's ridiculous.
All I'm saying is that all the signs pointed to start Kirk Cousins over Matt Ryan. And guess what? If you had started Matt Ryan, you still would have lost. So it's not like it was a winner,
Still, I just want to throw you under the bus. I don't get many chances.
That's okay. I'm just also going to throw you under the bus and say that you would have lost regardless. In the final game, I'm sorry,
I can't compete with Josh Stallion. I can't do it.
Yeah, you can't. He is fantastic. In the final game of the consolation ladder, the number 9 injured reserves lose to the 8 seed Annalise, so 132.95 to 111.55. Kevin's team having a nice little surge here at the end with some players you didn't expect. Marvin Jones.
I drafted him. I don't know what I expect from that. Like, I mean, I dropped him like 3 weeks.
Glad you dropped him
because he was terrible. But I just want to say, I drafted him.
Yes, yes, you did. So those are your matchups. Your recaps. We'll talk about the matchups. As well as we're getting to that big conversation that we had. We're getting to it, Taylor. We're just
I'm foaming at the mouth right now.
I can see that we're getting there. But first, how about some NFL lines? The Week 15 results are in. I'm happy to see that a lot of people actually. Let's see. We had how many people here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm sorry, 6 people who put their results in here. So, super fun. You want to give us a recap of the games here, Tay?
Yep, I'll give you a recap here. So we had the Chargers at the Raiders. Raiders line was -3, and it looked like it was going to be a push there at the very end in the overtime, but Chargers ended up scoring a touchdown.
Win for the Chargers.
Yeah, the win goes to Joe in this category. Evan also called that one. Good for you. Everybody in our league called Buffalo and we were all correct. Buffalo absolutely crushed the Broncos.
First division title for the Bills since I was born, 95. Yeah.
Love the Mafia. All right, we had Carolina at the Packers. Packers line was 9.5, and Carolina kept it close enough. They take the W there. You and I both had that one, Joe. Then we had the Bucks at the Falcons. The line was 6 on the Bucks, and they won by 6. So that was a push. Neither of us really got the points there.
Yeah, for those of you, sorry, I guess I didn't really explain. We haven't explained this last week, but usually if there's a half point in the line, obviously you're either going to cover the point spread or you're not going to cover the point spread. If it's an even number like 6 or 3 or 4, not even as in like even number, but like with no decimal, then there is a chance for a push. So if in this case the line Tampa Bay by 6, they won by 6, that means it's a push. Everybody gets their money back in Vegas, basically.
Exactly. Next game, we had 49ers at the Cowboys. Everybody took the Niners.
Who saw this coming?
But the Niners, they are terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Real bad.
So the Dallas won that game handily. Next game, we had Lions at Titans. Titans crushed them. You and I both called that one. We had the Detroit Lions faithful, Pujan and Evan, both taking the Lions on that one. They take an L. Texans at Colts. Line was 7.5 Colts, and everybody took Indy. And it looks here like in our doc that the Colts won by 7, so it kept it. They won, but just there was that half point thing that got in there. So Houston actually won against the spread. None of us get the points there. We have the Pats at the Dolphins. Pats were favored by a point, which I thought was very, very strange. I took Miami on this one, and I was correct. You took New England. You were trusting in Bill. And Bill, we trust.
I trusted in Bill Belichick, and I should never do that.
Exactly.
Never trust a Patriot.
Miami gets the points there. Bears at Vikings. I really believed in Skull Nation, but
you let us all down. Skull Nation.
We're terrible. We're so bad. And so, Chicago won that game by 6. Line was 3 on the Vikings. Next game was the Seahawks at Washington. Seahawks were favored by 6.5, and they only won by 5. Washington is good, man.
Washington's good. Yeah, that's
I took Washington in that game. You took Seattle. You were incorrect on that one.
Taking Washington.
We had Jags at the Ravens. You took Jacksonville. I'm not really sure why, but you took Jacksonville. Baltimore crushed them by 25. So I won that little matchup there. We had Jets at Rams, and you and I both took the Jets. How is this? How did that happen? You and I both took the Jets, and they win outright. Craziness.
It's insane.
That was crazy. We had next game, Eagles at the Cardinals. Cardinals were favored by 6, and Arizona won that one. We both took the Eagles. Next game was a push. Chiefs at Saints. That one was a push. So we all got our money back. Everybody took KC on that one, though. Very interesting. Next game, Browns at Giants. Everybody took Cleveland, and Cleveland won the game by 14 points. And then we had Steelers at Bengals. I cannot believe that this happened, but we all got it wrong with we all took Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati won the game outright. So in overall in summation here, your boy Taylor LaPrairie comes out on top. I got 8 wins. We had Joe getting 6. We had Derek getting 7, Evan and Pujan both getting 6, and Tim getting 7.
Yeah, and yeah, it was a pretty nice week for all of us.
Very, very fun.
At least you can win something, right, Taylor? So we're gonna do this again. The doc will be updated by let's see. We've got Saturday is the first game this week, so it'll be updated by Saturday for all you guys to get your picks in. Let's roll through this. You want to take us through these spreads here, Tay?
Here we go. Friday night game. We've got Vikings Skull at the Saints. Saints favored by 7. Who you got?
This is a revenge game for the Saints for last year's playoff loss. I will take New Orleans to cover this.
Will not be close. I got New Orleans as well. Buccaneers at the Lions, and the Bucs are favored by 9.
9. That's all.
I think the Bucs they're hitting their stride.
Yeah, I'm going to take Tampa Bay. I think the Lions. Here's the thing. What's the over under?
Over under is 54.
So I think they'll smash the over-under, but it'll still be Tampa Bay that covers, if that makes sense. I think the Lions put up points. I just think Tampa Bay will put up more.
Exactly. We got Niners at Cardinals. The battle in Arizona. 2 home teams in this game. We've got Cardinals favored by 5 points.
Yeah, give me the Cards.
Yeah, after this terrible game by the Niners last week, and
CJ Beathard's starting. You just don't know.
Yeah. We got the Dolphins at the Raiders, and the Dolphins are only favored by 3. I'm smashing the Dolphins on this game.
I am too. I will never pick against the Dolphins again this year. Actually, that's not true because I don't know.
Are you serious? Wow.
Next week.
Can I get that in writing, please? Next game, we've got Falcons at the Chiefs. Guess what the line is on this game?
Oh, is it Chiefs by 9?
Chiefs by 10.5.
10.5. This is tough. 10.5 is a big line.
Julio Jones will probably be back.
I think I'm going to take the Falcons to cover. Maybe I should.
Oh, you just no. You got to go with your gut here. Your gut said Falcons.
I'll take Falcons to cover.
Okay, all right.
But last time I picked it,
you saw. I just put in my vote on the. I put my pick on the sheet, and then you saw it, and you're like, I don't know. I'm taking Kansas City.
Here's the thing, though. The last time I've called the Kansas City game. The last 2 Kansas City games where we've been picking right, so I should follow my gut.
Yeah, you're taking Atlanta. I'll take Kansas
the
City.
Falcons.
All right, next game we got Bears at Jags. Bears favored by 7.5.
This is interesting because the Jags are not good, but neither are the Bears. 15 points for the Jags last week. What did you say the line was?
7.5.
7.5. The Bears are playing away.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to I picked the Jags last week. They really let me down. I'll take the Bears.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bears. I think now that the Jags know that they're in contention for the number 1 pick, they're gonna try and hold on to that. Next one we have Bengals at Texans, and the Texans are favored by 8. It's kind of a weird line. Kind of a weird line on that one.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit high. I think, I don't know, because Cincinnati just played a really good game this week. I'm going to take Houston. I don't think that's a big line though, Joe. What are we doing here? I'll stick with Houston for now. If that line changes though, I mean, if it's 8.5 or higher, I would take Cincinnati. But if you think about it, so basically what we're saying is if it's 8, it's a push. So 7 is technically, if Houston wins by 7, then all of a sudden, it's a different situation, right? Because if Houston wins by...
Are you okay?
Oops! I'm trying to...
You're like trying to do math in your head, and you're like...
I'm trying to do math in my head. The way I'm explaining it, it's just like me trying to explain the Sacco. It doesn't make sense, but in my head it makes sense. So I'll take Houston.
You're like me when I'm trying to teach band. So
exactly.
I'm taking Houston as well. I think that the Bengals used all their juice they had left on their squad against the Steelers. So next game, we got Browns at Jets, and the Browns are favored by 9.5.
That's it? Give me Cleveland. They're hitting their stride at the right point. Give me Cleveland.
Cleveland looks really good.
Cleveland looks great.
Would have thought Cleveland and the Dolphins would be so good. Next game, we've got Colts at Steelers. Oh. And this is crazy, but the line is 1.5. Now Steelers? you tell me, who's favored here?
Oh, did they favor the Colts?
You tell me.
No, they favored Pittsburgh.
You sure?
Yeah.
Colts are favored 1.5 points.
Marshall,
that's nuts.
Marshall, what do you have to say about this, man? What? The Colts are. I'm going to take Pittsburgh. I know they look like trash. 1.5. The Colts have been playing really good ball, but the Steelers actually have to win now.
It's
Cleveland is vying for the division now, so Pittsburgh has to win.
Yeah. It's Pittsburgh for me as well. Next game, we've got Carolina Panthers at the Washington football team. Washington football team favored by 2.5.
Yeah, give me Washington. I will no longer pick against them.
Washington looks great. We're like almost the same on all of these.
We've got one difference so far.
Yeah. But you actually changed a lot more than I thought you were going to do. Like when it actually came close to game time.
I enjoyed looking through this, and when you're in the mediocrity bowl, you got to have something to live for, and this was it.
Next game, Broncos at Chargers. Chargers favored by 3.
Yeah, easy. I would take. Yeah, I'm smashing LA on this pick. They look great.
Yeah,
they look
LA
great.
Looks really
Denver
good.
Is terrible. They have a Drew Lock problem.
Yeah, I feel like really confident about these picks. We've got the Rams at the Seahawks. Seahawks favored by 1.5.
This is tough. I think I might take the Rams. The Rams are mad that they lost to the Jets. The Seahawks have not been playing well. Seahawks have to win though. This is basically for the division for the the NFC West. I'll take the Rams. I'll take the Rams.
I'm going to take Seattle in this one. I think the game's outside. It's at Seattle. I'm going Seattle. I think it means more for them to hold on to that. Plus, the Rams just look terrible against the Jets, against that fighting Adam Gase's. Next game is Eagles at the Cowboys.
Oh, baby.
Guess the line on this one.
The big rivalry. NFC East showdown. It's in Dallas, you said?
In Dallas.
I bet you the Eagles are favored by 1.5.
Eagles favored by 2.
Oh, come on. Yeah, give me Philly. I like how they're playing football. They look good. They're playing well. I like Philly with Jalen Hurts.
I'm taking Dallas. Dallas is hitting their stride. Wide receivers are too good. You got Titans at Packers. Packers favored by 3.
Ooh. This is tough. Titans have a lot to play for with the Colts right at their hip in terms of, in that division. 3. This is in Green Bay?
In Green Bay. In
Do
cold
we know
Green
what the
Bay.
Weather is going to be like?
Will there be snow? Will snow be there to activate Derrick Henry?
That is my question, because at first I was like, what's the weather? Because I don't know if Tennessee can play up in Green Bay. But then I remembered that Derek Yeti is on the Titans. I'll take the Titans. I don't know why. I might change this, but I'm going to take the Titans right now.
Yeah, I feel good about the Titans.
They got a lot to play for. Green Bay, not so much.
I might change this one, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the Titans on this one as well. And then we have last game. They're saying that the Giants and the Ravens does not have a line on it. Did that game get removed or canceled or something like that?
No,
Do you know anything about that?
It's likely because the Giants had a Sunday night game, so it was one of the later games. They just haven't come out with a line yet.
Okay, so we'll have to update that.
Yep, it'll be all this will be updated in the spreadsheet, and in fact, it's not even updated for us right now. We're not even going off of ESPN. We're going straight from Caesar's book in Vegas. So, yeah.
So last game for us, we got Bills at Patriots. Bills favored by 7.
Woo, dude! Buff up. Is that what they say up there? Buff up.
I don't think that's what they say.
Buff up, baby. Give me those Bills.
I will also go Bills.
Give me those Bills. All right, those are your Week 16 lines. This has been super fun, and Taylor and I have been talking about next year and doing this all season long. It's going to be super fun.
I would love to have like a little side bet on this. Like whoever has the best overall record on the lines gets something.
Yeah, I would love to do that too. We're going to hash out the details and get it going for next year because this is going to be super fun. Okay, the moment you've all been waiting for. Thomas, it's back. Power rankings.
Power rankings. Ho, ho, ho.
So Thomas said this was his favorite segment, so we brought it back just for him. But what he does not know is that we're not even talking about fantasy football in these power rankings. We are talking about our favorite holiday songs and favorite holiday movies. So we're going to roll through this. Starting off with the songs. So Taylor, take us from worst to first with your top holiday songs.
So my worst, I just want to get this out there. So we ranked our top 5 favorites, but then we also listed a worst or a least favorite. My least favorite Christmas song is Baby It's Cold Outside. I really hate that song. I've yet to hear a version that's not like awkwardly Just the content of that is very, very questionable. So I really hate listening to that song. There's also this version with like Michael Bublé, and then who's the Idina Menzel. There's a version of that came out like 3 years ago. That was like the most cringy thing of all time. So that stuck with me. So that's my least favorite. My number 5 ranked Christmas song is Silent Night. I just really like that tune. There's not a specific version. This next one, ranked number 4, All Is Well. I think that's probably it's a dark horse for me. I don't think a lot of people know that one.
I don't know if I know that one.
There's a version by Voctive that's really, really good. You should look that up.
Your boys Voctive.
All Is Well is good.
You know them well, don't you?
Yes, I do know them well. I have a picture with them from multiple years. Anyways, band. Okay, my number 3 is It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas. I just really like this one. I usually listen to the Michael Bublé. That's kind of my number 1 version of the song, but I really like that one. My number 2 is Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire, i.e. the Christmas song, the Nat King Cole version. I love that one. I also love the Canadian brass arrangement of it. It's very, very good. Let's love it. It's got optional piccolo trumpet part. It's very, very good.
Hashtag band, dude.
And then I'm going to save my number 1. So we can reveal ours together.
That's fair. So my worst is do you hear what I hear? The answer is yes, I do hear what you hear, and I don't like it. It's an awful song. It is terrible. I am not a fan.
Whenever I hear that, I just think of the Cadet Show from 2012, the Christmas show. I know that only 2 people on this podcast listening are going to know that, but
I'm not a fan of that show that song. Okay. All right. From 5 to 2, because I'm saving number 1. It's The Most Wonderful Time of the Year. That's
Andy
number
Williams.
5 for me. Yeah. And I think honestly, it's, for me, the thing that makes that song is the lead up into when he sings. It's just such an awesome lead up and just intro. It's great.
Great arrangement.
I got some. So I'm a huge sucker for Sinatra. Just like all these old school
the crooners
singers. Yeah. And I just, man. So I'll Be Home for Christmas is my number 4 song here. Just classic, just nice and sweet. Just sits right in the range very well. It's a nice little one. Number 3, I got to have this in here. White Christmas, classic. I love this song.
I really like that. That's an honorable mention for me.
It's just, oh my gosh. You can't have Christmas without a White Christmas. I'm hoping I see some snow when I go home to Michigan here too. So you got to have that song here. I also have the Christmas song as my number 2 song as well. So we lined up there.
Will we line up for number 1?
That is the question. Would you like to reveal your number 1 song?
I'll go my number 1, but I know it's not your number 1.
It's definitely not my number 1.
My number 1, and to me, this is just just bona fide, no discussion needed. Sleigh Ride.
Oh gosh,
Sleigh Ride is incredible. I just don't know anybody that doesn't like this, except for maybe you. But it's incredible.
Finish your point, because I'll get into what I think about Sleigh Ride.
I don't need to explain. Sleigh Ride's amazing.
All right,
it's amazing. It's iconic. It's the quintessential holiday song.
I will say I do not hate Sleigh Ride. I don't necessarily like it either, though. It's right in the middle. And I think the reason is because I play that about 30 times in the span of a week and a half every season here. So I just get sick of it. Now, the one cool thing we do here, I gotta say this. So we always have some kids come on stage and conduct Sleigh Ride with us. That's always super fun. So I do look forward to it for that. But, just kind of a middle of the road, piecing the two apart. I mean, it's just kind of, oompas. It's okay. All right, so my number 1 song is Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Oh my gosh, it's just fantastic. Just, there's so much you can do with it in terms of just harmonies and stuff, and
it's okay. I like it. It's good. It's just not going to be in my top 5, but I think it's good.
Yeah, it's just nice to listen to. My honorable mention was Oh Christmas Tree, classic. Gotta have it. All right.
Oh, Tannenbaum.
Oh, Tannenbaum. Yes, there we go. Top 5 movies. Here we go. Honorable mentions for me.
You had a lot of honorable mentions here.
I do, yes. I couldn't decide. Christmas Story, Home Alone, Nightmare Before Christmas. I've only seen it once, but I actually really enjoyed it. Now, I don't have it in my top 5 simply because I haven't seen it enough to actually know if it stands up to the other movies. The classic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, You got to throw those guys in there. My worst movie, before I get into the top 5, is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey version. Not a fan of that movie.
I hate that one too. I think it's scary.
I do too. And I think that's why I didn't like it as a kid. I love the Grinch story, I think. I just am not a fan of many of the movies they've made about the Grinch. So maybe I guess I don't like the story. I don't know.
It's just too scary for me. I'm just like a wimp about that kind of stuff. And it's too scary.
Yeah, it's not the best. And yeah, Jim Carrey was a little creepy in that movie. Okay, from 5 to 2, I'll save number 1. Elf, I think it's good. I don't think it's the number 1 movie, though, for all of those who think it's like the best Christmas movie ever. No, it's not. It's good. It's good. It's not great. Number 4, Polar Express. Loved this movie as a kid. I loved trains as a kid. And, of course, the center of this movie is a magical train. So how can you not like that? So give me Polar Express. A Charlie Brown Christmas comes in at number 3 for me. It's just classic. I mean, you can't go wrong with Charlie Brown. And then the movie White Christmas comes in at number 2. This is one of the movies my family watches every year. But number 1 is the one I'm going to save because that is my all-time favorite Christmas movie.
Yeah. So my least favorite is A Christmas Story. I hate that movie. I think it's like vulgar. It's like strangely vulgar. And it's just, I just like don't like it at all. I don't understand why people have anointed that as like a great Christmas holiday movie. To me, it's like, doesn't have any like real quotable lines. Yeah. It's just like hard to get into. It doesn't make me feel like I love family. It just is crude and crass. I don't like it.
Yeah, and I guess it was in my honorable mentions, but I also feel the same. Well, not as, the same as you, because I don't hate it, but it's not like I enjoy like that 24-hour thing of the Christmas Story on one of those channels that they do every year. It's like, what's the point? So, yeah, I agree with you on that.
I just don't like it. If it's on, I just will like, all right, I'm going to go to the other room. My number 5 is kind of, I don't really like think this movie is like great, but it just has a special place in my heart. I always really liked it as a kid. The Santa Claus with Tim Allen. There's like there's a lot of like memories I have, like when he goes down the chimney and like the bad CGI of him getting down like the small little chimney at the top. Him like shaving his beard and it growing back immediately. Like there's a lot of iconic moments in that one. Plus the kid in that's like really, really cute. I also, this is like maybe a little bit weird, but I had like, there's like a female elf in there who's like thousands of years old and she's like the hot chocolate elf or something like that. I forget her name, but I always had a huge crush on her when I was a kid. so that comes in at number 5 for me. Number 4, Home Alone. I really, really like that movie. I know you're kind of like meh about it. It's a little bit vulgar at times, but like, it has a good positive message at the end, which makes me kind of, I've always liked that part of it. And I just think Joe Pesci and I always forget the other actor's name.
I agree with you. I think Home Alone is a good movie, but 2 and 3 were like, okay, it's the same story.
And 4.
And 4. See, look, I didn't even know. Like, yeah, Home Alone's a good movie. John Williams did the soundtrack, so you gotta love that. Yeah.
Oh, the song in that one, what is it? Somewhere in my memory. That one's great.
Yeah. No, there's some good tunes in there.
Number 3 is Polar Express for me. That's like a special place in my heart because I always watch that with my mom. Maybe that's like my favorite holiday tradition. But I always watch that one with my mom and we like make hot chocolate and stuff. I will say the thing that takes me out of that movie is that annoying kid.
Yes.
That, like,
oh my
that
gosh.
Annoying,
yes.
Like
yes.
Everybody look outside the window. Like that kid is the worst. Really, really, really brings down the movie.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I always kind of hope that he accidentally gets stuck underneath the tracks. Like maybe like this time of the movie, it's like takes a tragic turn of events, but everybody in the train's like much happier.
All of a sudden, the Polar Express becomes the Murder Express this year.
Sorry to take this into a dark place, but he really takes out of me. But I really like the rest of that. I love the soundtrack too.
Yes, good soundtrack.
The soundtrack's amazing. Number 2 for me is Elf. It's not like my favorite movie of all time, but I certainly think for this genre, it's very, very rewatchable. It's just classic. I think that Will Ferrell's best movie. I would say it's second.
Behind what?
I think my favorite Will Ferrell movie is Anchorman. I've just seen so many times.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Anchorman would be my pick.
Anchorman's probably his best movie. Or his best role, I should say.
Right, his best role, yes.
My favorite movie that he's in is Step Brothers.
That I haven't seen, but I've heard it's great.
Yeah. So it's those two, and then I think Elf. I think Elf is like a great movie. And then my number one. You want me to go first?
We both had the same number one.
Oh yeah, that's right. We both had the same number one.
And
It's
I'm
a Wonderful Life.
because I didn't think a lot of people knew this movie. Yeah, it's a Wonderful Life are both of our number one movies.
It's a tearjerker. It honestly it's emotional every single time I watch it.
It's
great.
Such a great movie, and this is the movie my family watches every single year with our.
I want to live again. I want to live again.
Oh yeah, and wait, you know who the angel is in that movie?
What's his name?
Clarence. I thought it was Terrence. Oh, I'm going to make
Terrence?
a Terrence reference. Why did I think it was Terrence?
No, it's not Terrence. It's Clarence.
It sounds the same.
I thought you were talking about like
Clarence.
the talking stars that are in like talking to each other.
In the beginning? Yeah, no, this is later in the movie. If you guys have not seen It's a Wonderful Life, you should definitely watch it. Classic holiday movie. Let's talk about Championship week. Let's get into it, boys.
Road to the ship.
All right, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but officially now, the league championship game, number 4, Super Bowl 4, is the 1 seed, Pablo Top, Joe Bottom versus the 2 seed, the King of Pablo. This is, believe it or not, a rematch of the 2019 Sacco game. So, props to
riches.
you guys. Yeah, props to you guys for making it back from all the way, the depths of fantasy football to the top. Pablo Top, Joe Bottom. This is his second appearance in the championship game. The only other time was in 2017, and he won. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. This is his first appearance in the Big Ten. The Super Bowl 4. The reason I said Big Ten was because I was going to mention this. I think I speak for most people in our league, or at least myself. I won't say most people. I want Derek to win this game. This matchup here is like, the Big Ten bowl season. This is like when that comes around, it's like, I want every single Big Ten team to win except for Michigan. I want every single Big Ten team to win their bowl game but Michigan. This is the same thing. This is the exact same rule. Transverse property. Here we go. Derek better win this game. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I am also rooting for Derek. But I will say that if Pujan does win, he has earned the right to talk as much smack as he wants about me, about whoever. But I think that everybody just in the league is like pulling for Derek because we don't want that to happen. Like, yes. Pujan, if you win, like it's like you've earned the right, but none of us want that to be the case. So I am also pulling for Derek. I'm a little bit worried that he used his, King Derek Henry,
his Yeti mode already.
Yeah, him going just like absolute beast mode. I'm a little bit worried that his team peaked one game early, but I'm still pulling for Derek here.
Yes, we will see. In the third place game, and remember, Thomas, because I think you forgot about this last year.
He was in it last year.
You get your money back if you get third place. So, yes, Thomas was came in fourth place last year. But
who won that game? Who was third place last year?
That was you, Taylor.
And should have won the whole league? Yeah.
Who was champion last year, though?
I know.
Yeah, that's right. All right, here we go. Third place game. Stat pad for the 5 seed taking on the defense whisperer, the 6 seed. Should be a great matchup. Remember, you guys are still playing for something. You're playing for your money back.
Thomas, you might want to try getting over 100 points.
Yeah, that might.
You might want to try that.
in the Mediocrity Bowl, week 2. A swift kick of the cup versus the Teddy Brewskis. The beer is on the line in this game. Whoever has the most points after these last weeks, 15 and 16, buys the other person beer. That's a lot of fun. The consolation games, the 8 seed and Lisa versus the 10 seed Cowboys that suck, and 7 hooked on a Thielen versus 9 injured reserves. This is where we got to talk about the Sacco, because we've been waiting all show just for this.
I'll say my piece quickly here. Okay,
yes,
so I wanted to say this. So I know everybody's like wanting me to lose. I am very, very aware that out of those 4 teams, everyone wants me to lose. But I just want to say this: if I were to lose this game, and if what I was thinking is true, is that whoever loses the game between Kelsey and I is the official Sacco. To me, when I think of who I want to be the Sacco, I want to have the worst team in the league be labeled as the Sacco. And I just want to say that, like, if I were to lose this, and like, if this was the criteria, that I think everybody would agree that, like, I do not have the worst team in the league. I just don't. Okay. Is my team great? No, they're not great. I mean, that's been very, very clear. But I do not have the worst team in the league by any metric. Because right now, as of right now, if we're going to include regular season and playoff records combined, okay, my record is 6-9. Not good. I'm not saying I'm,
nice.
Should be in the playoffs or anything like that, but 6-9. Then you've got Tim. Tim is 4-11. Okay, and he was 2-11 after the regular season. Then you've got Kevin, who's also 4-11, and then you've got Kelsey, who's 3-12. So I don't think that I just don't think it's right that if I were to lose this game to Kelsey, that I would be labeled as the worst team when my record, even if I were to lose this game, would still be better than all three of these guys. And then if you look at the points for, which is like, the real statistic of fantasy football, who has scored the most points, because we're not able to play defense in this activity, in this sport. Points for is the metric to know whose team actually puts up the most points. And I also am ahead of all three of these teams. I have the 7th most points for in our league. So my thing about this whole Sacco thing is this is not actually deciding who has the worst team in the league over the course of the year. This is just like a situational, oh, well, you won the first week of the playoffs, but then you lost the last two, and so now you're the worst team in the league. That's not actually determining who has been, the worst throughout the last couple weeks. And I think that people in here are just saying, well, he's just saying that because he's, looking at being the Sacco and he doesn't want to be labeled Sacco. And I'm saying, yeah, but I think that it's not right. And if any of you guys were one game away from making the playoffs, like my team was, and then you ended up being put in the consolation bracket, that you would be saying the exact same things as me. You don't want to be labeled as the Sacco, especially since you're not even close to the worst team in the league. So that's my 2 cents on this whole thing.
Yeah, and so Derek and I had a conversation, and Taylor, you were present as well, and because honestly, we had to look into this and see what has happened in the past.
What is the actual letter of the law? What does the rule book say about who is the Sacco?
In our rule book, the person in last place at the end of the year is the Sacco.
So last in the final standings.
And that has always been the case. That has never changed. What has changed through votes over the year is how we determine last place. But the way it's set up now in ESPN is that the final standings are dependent on overall record from the regular season and the postseason. That's what it looks like. We looked over last year's situation. I looked over the previous, 2018, and it looks like that even though despite in the standings, the final standings in ESPN, they only list your regular season record, but in those final standings they also take into account the postseason records. So, for instance, last year, Derek's team was the Sacco, right? He had the worst record from any. I think it was 5-11 at the end of the year. That was his final
including
record.
The playoffs.
Including the playoffs.
He won 2 games in the playoffs, but still was 5-11.
Here's the thing. He went 2-1 in the postseason, and Pujan and Kevin went 1-2 in the postseason, but Derek still finished last in the league because of his regular season record not being as high as Puj or Kevin's. So the way it works is that Sacco, like the final standings, will be the person with the worst record in the league through 16 weeks of play. So that means that it looks like, and again, I should put an asterisk #Puj by all of this because I think this is how, like Derek and I talked about it. We're pretty sure this is how it works, but again, I don't know. I think this is how it's going to happen. That the person with the worst record at the end of the year is Sacco, which means that the only teams that are eligible for that would be Kevin, Kelsey, and Tim.
Actually, it would just be Kevin or Kelsey.
Excuse me, Kevin or Kelsey. Yeah, because
if Kelsey if Kelsey were to win and Tim were to lose, then the question would be of who has the most points for.
Yeah, so basically,
that would because they'd have the same record, and then it would be who has the most points for, and that's Tim.
The least points for. So to figure out who last place is, they have to have the worst record and the least points for if they tied that record with somebody else. So basically, all this is to say that yes, it looks like Taylor is safe. Tim's wins, because Tim is 2-0 in the consolation bracket, have mattered to this point big time, because now now he's like, well, I might avoid the Sacco, even though all season he had 2 wins, right? So this is huge for Tim, and all of a sudden, it's a different landscape here. So I'm sure we're going to have some rule proposal changes on, what happens for the consolation bracket is just super confusing because we have 4 teams over 3 weeks.
So my personal and what I will propose at the end of the season is, instead of having the bottom 4 teams in a consolation bracket, what I personally think we should do, and you guys can disagree with me if you want, and if it gets vetoed, then that's fine. But I think what should be is, whoever has the 2 worst records in the regular season go, and throughout the 3 weeks of the playoffs, it's a best of 3. And whoever loses 2 games or 3 games in the final 3 weeks of the playoffs, between the 2 worst teams based on their regular season, that's who we label as the Sacco. I just don't think it's really not fair. If, for instance, who's my arch nemesis? Thomas. If Thomas was 5-8 going into the playoffs and he was in my situation, I would I would have a really hard time. I think we'd all know that, if he were to be in the situation I'm in and he were to lose, but still have more wins than everybody else, that he's not the true Sacco. Right. So I think that we should pit those bottom regular season teams against each other and have them battle it out.
Yeah, there's definitely multiple ways to go about it. And the way it's set up now is super confusing and just to explain. But I think this makes sense the way we figured it out, that it looks like the worst record is going to be the Sacco, which is the way it should be, right?
Yes.
So I definitely agree with you on that, and that's something.
Evan, feel free to call me and say it's collusion, but it's
not. We haven't. That's the thing. And Taylor, when because I texted you yesterday saying I think you're in the Sacco game, and you were understandably pretty what. What the heck, Joe? And I was like, look, I have not changed any rules.
Word heck. I did not use the word heck.
You did not. You used much more profanities than that. But my point is, and this is still the point carrying forward, that we have not changed any rules. We're just trying to understand what's going to happen. And
ultimately,
that's the hard
I just
part.
need to beat Kelsey. That's what I'm. That's my focus.
It's fantasy football. You just got to win, right? That's all you got to do. So yes, by this time next week, we will have a champion.
Road to the ship.
All right, boys. Wow. It was a rousing discussion. And the thing, it could have gone even longer than it did. In fact, I think we spent at least 45 minutes with Derek talking about this.
Yes. I will just say that I like it when we all talk on the Facebook page, and I like seeing everyone's trash talk going into the last week, and I do want to make sure that we get this thing right. That's my case. I stated my case. I just think it should be about who's the worst team, and there's a couple different metrics we can choose from. We need to decide, but
yes,
I'm not really that concerned. I'm going to beat Kelsey anyway. It's
there
Kelsey for goodness
sake. That's all you
got
to do. Yes, you mentioned it. Trash talk. Of course, we are recording this on a Tuesday because it's a holiday, and both of us are traveling here in the next couple days. So we did this a little bit early. So Trash Talk will be featured on the Facebook page. And yes, Pooj and Derek, and really anybody else, this is your chance because it's on the Facebook page instead of on the pod. Let all the stops out. Really let us know how you feel. And don't forget the Pod Awards, the Bando Awards, have been posted on the Facebook group as of, I think, a couple hours after this recording, Tuesday evening. So please cast your votes for the Bando Awards. Results will be on next week's pod, the final pod of the season. Yes, so vote once, put your votes in there. It should be a lot of fun. There's some good awards in there. So it should be fun to hash those out. I believe I can't remember when the voting deadline is, but I'm sure I'll mention it several times before it comes up. Yes, and don't forget, Saturday games this week again. And that's all we got for you on this episode of the pod, special holiday edition. Have a nice holiday with all of your friends and family. Stay safe, stay healthy. And we will see you on next week's episode of the pod. Week 17, Tay. We're there.
Cannot wait. Happy holidays, everybody. Safe travels.
Peace out, guys.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Bands Make